Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time of the day it is when you get to see this, I wanted to let you know that there's hope. Hey, my name is MelanEE Lisa Davidson, and as I like to say, that's MelanEE with two E's on the end and there's no I. I am the youngest of 4 children. It's a Navy family, so we moved around a lot here in the U.S. I was actually born in Florida, but by the time I came back to Florida, I had actually lived in at least 12 different homes in 6 different states. So I share that because there's a lot of uprooting and reestablishing, uprooting and reestablishing. And eventually I decided I didn't like that. I did not like being uprooted and having to make friends all over again. Now, that may or may not be a big deal for you, but it was for me. As a matter of fact, I hardened my heart. And although in those days I would have pointed here from my heart, I actually point here now. Because it's there I kind of put walls up and said, no, no more. I'm not going to deal with any more pain. Well, the pain of being uprooted and reestablishing was nothing compared to surviving over 13 years of childhood sexual, physical, emotional abuse and neglect. It was off the charts painful. And so in my heart, the way I dealt with that horrific abuse and neglect was to, in essence, dig a really deep, dark cave. And that deep, dark cave is where I put all those emotions, all those feelings, all that stuff from the trauma. And I put it there and I went on my way. And it stayed there until I started recovery in my mid to early 30s. So I share that part because how did I get through? Well, only God. God, whom I now call Papa. Now, I'd had homosexual feelings since I was very little. I mean, I literally, because of the abuse, I literally saw myself as a boy. I was actually trained to be a boy. Now, that's hard to say because it kind of hits me in the gut sometimes, even again. And it might hit you that way. I just want to remind you, there's hope. I was a senior in high school when I, quote unquote, made that decision that I was a lesbian. And I went off to Miami, went to school on a volleyball scholarship, and I decided that's who I was going to be for the rest of my life. But God, He had other plans. Fast forward to that moment in the bar. I've been living as a lesbian at that point at about 6 years. And then I'm at a gay disco bar in Fort Lauderdale. And there's this lady that I've known from before, and she's sharing the gospel. And I think that's probably more than anything else what caught my attention. She was loving on people in a bar. I wanted that. I wanted the peace she had. The shalom, that fullness that she had. She shared the gospel with me too. And on 23 December 1985, I became born again. It was amazing. It was glorious. It was off the charts fantastic. Until I realized my homosexual feelings were still there. I mean, it seemed like everything else had changed, but not that. And why not that? She hadn't promised that they would. I just assumed they would. I didn't have an answer. Now, I read the scriptures. I knew what it said. I wasn't taking anyone else's word. As a matter of fact, I told people, don't tell me what your opinion is. I've got to know for myself. So I did. I read, and I prayed. And sure enough, that's not how Papa created me to live. That's not how He created humans to live. I didn't know what to do with the homosexual feelings, so I kept it a secret. And not only did I keep those feelings a secret, I kept a secret of what was happening up here, the sexual fantasies, the porn in my head, and the masturbation. That I told no one. I mean, if I wasn't going to tell somebody about homosexual feelings, I sure wasn't going to tell anybody about the other. In those days, I didn't know something that I wouldn't learn until a decade later. And that was, I'm only as sick as my secrets. So I kept secrets, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker without even realizing it. And so, dealing with my pain my way, I went back to my old way of living. And then, just like Papa used Vicky Sue in that bar to get my attention, he's now using the depression I'm in to get my attention. Wow. And he got my attention. I was finally willing to admit a few things that I'd never been willing to admit before. I need help. And 3 other words that it was like, really hard to say. I was wrong. But I love what Sy Rogers says. He says, God is so big. He is so big that he will meet every single person exactly where they are. And I want you to know that. That's where Papa met me. He met me in my anger. He met me in my pain. He met me in my helplessness. He met me in my feelings of being powerless to do anything, because that's how it felt. And he loved me. He met me there. And the way he met me there is he brought some safe people into my life, what I now refer to as a safe team. The first 3 safe people were 2 therapists. I'm going to put them on this side. And a pastor who eventually became my good adopted dad, he still is, on this side. These people were sandwiching me in their great love that they have received from God himself. They're telling me, Melanie, you do matter. Melanie, you have a voice and it matters. And you're worth protecting. And so his great love was poured into me over and over and over again. And that's why I want you to hear this story, that there's hope for you to know that you know that you know that loved you are. So the ministry that I get to be part of, some people would say I'm the director of, but I just say I get to be part of because it's Papa's. It's Papa's ministry. It's called His Great Love. And yes, there's an exclamation mark on the end of that because I love exclamation marks. And His Great Love is a resource for people to be able to learn that there's hope, that they matter, they have a voice and it matters, and that you're worth protecting and being nurtured. No matter any form of abuse or neglect, any form of trauma, any form of pain, He's bigger. Papa is bigger. I want you to know, above all else, even if there's not another human being around you to express and demonstrate Papa's great love to you, I want you to know right here and now, He does. He does.